Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and a happy new year over here at the Jolly Olive channel. Hope all you are doing well. Did anybody else get a really weird gift from their parents this year? Like, what is this thing? I get that I'm a Mets fan, but like, what is it? Where did they find this? Did they make it? I'm gonna see this thing in my nightmares. But listen, today's video, it's not about my new scary pumpkin, believe it or not. Today's video is in fact a part 2 to our last video, the best Fluke contract years in MLB history. Guys who had spectacular seasons in their walk year, entered free agency, got the big deal, and then prove that they weren't that player at all. You guys really seemed to enjoy last week's video, left a ton of suggestions for this week's video, so let's dive right in. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Jolly Olive channel. Let's hit 150,000 subs early this year. Get that goal out of the way. Let's go. Well, I didn't take the low-hanging fruit last time, so I think I am going to do it this time. Once a top 15 prospect in all of baseball per MLB's rankings in 2014, Nick Castellanos' tenure with the Detroit Tigers was underwhelming at the start. His era of play coincided with the franchise's regression from playoff contention to irrelevance, as Castellanos hit well annually but struggled to find a defensive position to thrive in. However, he began to really produce offensively towards the late 2010s, leading the league with an absurd 58 doubles in 2019, the most of any player in a single season since Todd Helton with the Rockies in 2000. Detroit perhaps held on to Nick Castellanos a little too long, trading him to the Chicago Cubs in 2019 with only 2 months of control left on his team contract, failing to get a significant return. Although getting an empty return for a really good player isn't exactly uncommon in this era of Tigers baseball, Tigers fans know exactly what I'm talking about. For the Cubs, Castellanos absolutely raked down the stretch before hitting free agency, revered as one of the better rental trade pieces of the past decade. In a surprise move, Nick Castellanos would sign with the Cincinnati Reds that offseason on a 4-year, $64 million contract that included an opt-out clause at the conclusion of the second year. This instantly became one of the most lucrative deals in Reds history. I'm talking up there with Ken Griffey Jr. and Joey Votto in terms of money spent, and it was the exact same contract that they also gave to Mike Moustakas that same offseason, and one of those contracts did a lot better than the other. The Reds did make the expanded playoffs in 2020 directly after this offseason spending spree, but 2021 is the year we'll be focusing on specifically. Castellanos broke out fully in his age 29 season, setting career bests in home runs, wins above replacement, batting average, and OPS, while making his first All-Star team, winning his first Silver Slugger, and receiving MVP votes for the first time. His 2021 campaign is one of only 4 in the last 5 years, where a primary outfielder hit 30 home runs while batting over 300 in a single season, alongside 3 different MVP winners. Nick Castellanos became a beloved player in Cincinnati for more than just his hitting, and he did a lot of hitting. It wasn't for his nickname either, and this is a bad segue, but I had to bring this up. It's time to play another game of I had no idea this MLB player had this random-ass nickname. Drum roll, please. The winning answer will be The Artist. Nick Castellanos' nickname is The Artist. Did you know that at home? No, you didn't. And if you did, you're lying. And friends don't lie.
You are like Papa.
He developed a bulldog attitude in the clubhouse with fellow All-Star outfielder Jesse Winker, the first pair of Reds teammates to start in the All-Star game since 2013. He played a pivotal role in the funniest baseball meme in recent years.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. I don't know if I'm going to be putting on this headset again.
And perhaps most importantly, and also bittersweetly, Nick Castellanos torched the ownership group for their cheapness when he opted out of his contract at year's end. He said on the Chris Rose rotation that the Castellini family didn't even give him a phone call to try and re-sign him, and made sure to praise Reds fans when it became clear that he wasn't destined to return after his career season. When his hometown Miami Marlins fell out of the bidding war, Nick Castellanos signed on with the Philadelphia Phillies on a 5-year, $100 million contract just a week or so before opening day. The 2022 Phillies experimented with horrendous defense in service of a potent lineup, and it took them all the way to Game 6 of the World Series in Castellanos' first year. And while Nick has certainly had some signature moments with Philadelphia, I think Philly fans would agree that the 5-year investment made has hardly been worth it. Even after making defensive strides in right field and staying on the field for all 162 games last year, the on-field results have paled in comparison to the dynamite season he put up with Cincinnati in 2021. Of players with at least 2,000 plate appearances from 2022 to 2025, only Andrew Vaughn has been less valuable by wins above replacement among qualified position players in this window. Castellanos is one of just 9 players in this window with the same amount of plate appearances to not manage an OPS above league average, and he shares company here with defense-first players players like Ryan McMahon, Key Brian Hayes, and Andres Jimenez despite not having that dimension to his game. With Castellanos outwardly speaking on his willingness to switch positions and the Phillies signing Adolis Garcia to a one-year deal, it seems as though both sides fully understand that their partnership is coming to an end one way or another. And had Castellanos not burst out in that 2021 season, it's hard to say if he ever would have signed with the Philadelphia Phillies. Up next is our first and only pitcher in today's video. Entering free agency for the first time at age 30 in 2017, right-handed pitcher Andrew Cashner had done little to show teams that he could be a long-term, consistent option in a starting rotation. Cashner had flashes of brilliance during his 5-year tenure with the San Diego Padres, but fell off heavily towards the end of his stay in 2016. When he was flipped to the Miami Marlins in a trade that sent both Josh Naylor and Luis Castillo to the Padres, #PrellerGod, Cashner's numbers tanked in the second half, with an ERA well above 7 and a WHIP near 2 in his final month of the year. Not only was it the final month of the year, it was his final month before hitting free agency. However, the 2016 offseason featured a very light starting pitching market in that year's class, highlighted by 36-year-old Rich Hill and 43-year-old Bartolo Colon, #Unkincorporated. Because of this, Andrew Cashner was still able to make $10 million on his one-year pact with the Texas Rangers. As crazy as it is to say, though, had he pitched even just a little bit better in 2016, Cashner almost undoubtedly would have been the top pitcher in that year's free agent market. That would be like if Marco Estrada or like Clay Buchholz hit the market and was the best starting pitcher you could possibly get with money. It's a nightmare. Perhaps that sentiment stuck with him because Andrew Cashner emerged in the 2017 season, finally pitching to his potential for the defending AL West Division champions. In an underwhelming losing season for the Texas Rangers, the signing of Andrew Cashner was one of the very few things that went right. Cashner set career bests in wins above replacement and ERA+, making 28 starts for Texas in his most impressive season by far. However, the warning signs under the hood signaled that this season was much more of an outlier than people anticipated. Of qualified starting pitchers in the 2017 season, Cashner owned the highest contact rate against at 86.4%. He owned the worst strikeout to walk rate in baseball as well, and even though strikeouts were never truly his calling card, he managed a career low punch-out rate in this season despite his quality numbers overall. In fact, his strikeout to walk rate of 1.34 is the lowest in baseball in the last decade of play, and only Lucas Harrell in 2011 for the Houston Astros has had a mark lower in the past near 15 years of play. Either way, results were results, and Andrew Cashner re-entered the market in 2017, looking to cash in on a multi-year deal. The Baltimore Orioles, looking to cling on to an aging core, bought heavily on the pitching market after a last-place finish in their division in 2017. They brought in Andrew Cashner on a 2-year, $16 million contract, and Alex Cobb on a 4-year, $57 million contract, the most lucrative deal for a pitcher in the history of their franchise. That's right, folks, that sentence is true, and guess what? I did a whole video on every team's most expensive contract. That's not even the most embarrassing one. In the end, it would be an investment worth over $70 million that paid little dividends in Birdland. Cashner regressed significantly in his first season with Baltimore, watching his ERA rise nearly 2 runs between seasons as the poor contact rates that he had been managing prior finally caught up to him. Cashner was staying afloat in his underwhelming season up until an August 2nd start, where none other than the Texas Rangers pummeled him for 10 earned runs. Cashner's ERA near 8 and opponent's batting average of .322 in the final 2 months of the season were far and away the worst marks of any qualified pitcher. Though he improved in 2019 for Baltimore, the club would trade him mid-season to the Boston Red Sox, where his performance tailed off again. This would become the final season of his pro career. Overall, in his 2-year stint following a breakout campaign in Texas, Cashner pitched to an ERA nearly 10% worse than league average in over 300 innings, the second worst mark in baseball among pitchers with this many innings, only outdone by his rotation mate Dylan Bundy. Times were bad in Baltimore. Before we get to the next player in today's video, I want to thank Shopify for sponsoring me today. Shopify is the best place to start and grow a business, which is why we partner with them here at John Boy Media. We rebranded our entire merch line, named it Slashline, and we did all of the rebranding with Shopify, and it was a dream. We brought the ideas and Shopify brought the execution. As you're shopping our new launch, check out what Shopify can do for you. Life is really a home run when you have Shopify by your side. Whether you're just wanting to test an idea out or you're ready to launch your own new brand, Shopify is the place to be, and it's never been easier to get started than over at shopify.com/jollyolive, all one word. Thank you to Shopify for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the action. The next player on today's list is one that I probably would have never found if not for the comment section on last video. This guy suggested it and I read comments, so if you think your comments aren't being heard, you're wrong. Leave a comment down below. Through 7 years in MLB, Jeff Keppinger was not regarded as anything more than a utility fielder who could hit a little bit on the right day. Having been traded 5 times throughout this stage of his career, Keppinger was viewed as an expendable piece. And though he hit for a decent batting average and could play 6 different positions on the diamond, his market was understandably quiet once he finally hit free agency at age 32 in the 2011 offseason. Because of that, the frugal Tampa Bay Rays were able to scoop up Jeff Keppinger on a 1-year pact worth just $1.5 million. It ended up being one of the best bargains of the 2012 season. After registering just 0.2 wins above replacement in his career before this year, Keppinger performed 10 times better than that value and then some in 2012. He set career bests in wins above replacement, home runs, batting average, and OPS plus in a shocking breakout season. What's even more surprising about this revelation is that Keppinger was thrust into a starting role when Evan Longoria, the face of the Tampa Bay Rays, missed over 100 games with a torn hamstring. Without Keppinger, the Rays probably don't come anywhere near 90 wins, even though they didn't make the playoffs that year. Of players with at least 400 plate appearances in 2012, Keppinger tied for the 7th best batting average in all of baseball at .325. His 7.4 strikeout rate made him the 3rd hardest punch-out for pitchers to get in MLB as well that year. Keppinger's peskiness at the dish and unique versatility on defense made him a very lucrative piece in free agency that offseason, leading him to sign a 3-year, $12 million contract with the Chicago White Sox. But per the rules of this video, his first season of his new deal was a disaster, and his 2012 season now exists more so as a flash in the pan. His numbers regressed heavily upon signing his new deal, watching his OPS drop nearly 200 ticks between seasons. His bat-to-ball skills failed him, and his league average slugging clip from the years past plummeted, culminating in his first season on the South Side ending abruptly when he needed surgery for his right shoulder. When the shoulder injury persisted into 2014 even after surgery, the Chicago White Sox made the gutsy decision to designate him for assignment with over $8 million still owed. And in a rare and admittedly awesome move, Jeff Keppinger took to Twitter after the news came out and apologized directly to White Sox fans for playing so badly. And the reply section is honestly very civil and pretty cool to read. You know, let's check out more of his Twitter. I bet there's some other good stuff. Never mind. Let's just move on to the next player in today's video, which is one of my favorite players from my childhood, but this is now the 2nd video in a row that I've brought him up in a negative light, and I just want you to know, Chone Figgins, I'm a big fan. Please don't take this personally. The type of player that Chone Figgins is one that's been disappearing from baseball more and more with each passing year. A contact-first, quality bat with top-of-the-league speed and an ability to put on a glove at essentially any position on the field. After patrolling third base, center field, and second base steadily for the Angels for the first 5 years of his career, Chone Figgins exploded in productivity come his contract year in 2009. In a lineup with Torrey Hunter, Bobby Abreu, and another underperforming outfielder that we'll get to in just a second, Chone Figgins was far and away the most valuable player on the Angels that season. Figgins led the league with 101 walks and set career bests in wins above replacement, runs scored, doubles, and on-base percentage. In the 21st century, only Figgins and his teammate Bobby Abreu have put together a season with over 100 walks and over 40 stolen bases, an impressive combination of plate discipline and speed. After wrapping up the 2009 season as the 7th most valuable player in the game by BWAR while making his first All-Star appearance of his career, Chone Figgins shocked the baseball world by joining the Angels' division rival, signing with the Seattle Mariners on a 4-year, $38 million contract. He cited specifically the opportunity to bat behind Ichiro Suzuki as a key factor in him joining the team. It was an aggressive move made by new general manager Jack, I don't know, you guys try, who saw the end of the Adrian Beltre contract in Seattle and looked to replace him while also hurting a division rival. Instead, the Seattle front office ended up doing the Angels a big favor by taking on Chone Figgins. While his plate discipline was still solid, every other facet of Figgins' game took a nosedive in his first season with the Mariners in 2009. He clocked in with the 3rd lowest slugging clip in baseball among qualified players at a pitiful .306 mark. His OPS also ranked as a bottom 10 average in all of baseball, ball and hitting behind Ichiro on a daily basis did significant damage to the productivity of Seattle's lineup. Not only that, Seattle pigeonholed him into a single position at second base, the only season of his career where he did not play at least 3 positions in a given year. Suffice to say, after 2010, Figgins' role would be greatly reduced. In 2011 and 2012, when he was slowly demoted to the role of utility player off the bench, Chone Figgins' numbers only got worse. His .502 OPS was the worst in baseball in these 2 years combined among players with at least 500 plate appearances. His negative 2.0 wins above replacement was a bottom 3 mark in baseball around this time. In the 2012 offseason, the Mariners unceremoniously dumped Chone Figgins, eating the remaining $8 million on his contract to free up a roster spot. After a brief stint with the Dodgers in 2014, Chone Figgins retired from baseball, beloved by one AL West team's fan base and hated by another's. And believe it or not, we have another AL West player to talk about that ended up switching teams in his own division. After spending years in waiver wire hell, playing for 5 different teams in 5 seasons, Gary Matthews Jr. was at a crossroads in his playing career at age 29. He signed on for a league minimum contract with the Texas Rangers ahead of the 2004 season, very much holding on to his last shot at playing time at the major league level. By 2006, he had established himself as the everyday center fielder. On a roster that featured Mark Teixeira, Michael Young, and Ian Kinsler, the most valuable player by wins above replacement on the 2006 Rangers was Gary Matthews Jr. of all people. The journeyman set career highs in wins above replacement, hits, home runs, triple slash line, and OPS in an all-star season for the Rangers. He also made one of the most incredible catches I have ever seen in a professional baseball game, and if you're seeing this for the first time, you're welcome. He became one of just 10 players in the 21st century to primarily play center field, register a 5-WAR season, and hit 40 doubles in said season. His dynamic combination of improved plate discipline, a career-best defensive campaign, and a huge leap in slugging capability paved the way for a big-time payday in free agency. The division rival Los Angeles Angels would win the sweepstakes in the end, signing Gary Matthews Jr. to a 5-year, $50 million contract that included a full no-trade clause to the first 3 years of the deal. Angel fans, if you thought you were getting off scot-free in this video, I'm sorry. It wasn't going to happen. It can't happen. There's too much ammunition. Just 3 months after signing his blockbuster deal in November of 2006, Gary Matthews Jr. was named in the notorious Mitchell Report in early 2007, which cited various MLB sluggers for possible linkage to the steroid known colloquially as HGH. When the Angels threatened to void the entire contract if Matthews elected to remain silent on his involvement, he came forward and made a statement denying any PED usage. With embarrassment off the field, his play on the field suffered as well, as he put together a replacement level season and saw his OPS plus dip nearly 30% between years. His late season injuries kept him off the postseason roster as well. Things got worse before they got better in this murky 5-year deal. In 2008, he was one of 24 players to register a full negative win above replacement in value. His slugging clip dipped well below 400 and his defense in center field began to wane heavily. By 2009, he had lost his everyday role in the starting lineup, with Torrey Hunter taking over in center field and the acquisition of Bobby Abreu pushing Matthews to the bench. In the offseason, Matthews demanded a trade, and after the Angels agreed to eat most of the remaining money, the New York Mets agreed to take him in. After just 36 games in 2010, he was DFA'd and released, bringing his dozen-year chaotic career to an end, as well as this partnership that was nothing short of completely disastrous. And that will do it for part 2 of the best Fluke contract years in MLB history. I don't think I missed any more, but if you still have another idea, leave a comment down below, subscribe to the Jolly Olive channel, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and I really appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. But that'll do it for me this time, and I'll see you guys next time.